Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the big stories going around in the UFC world. From a UFC fighter getting arrested for an altercation, to how Dustin Poirier shuts down an offer, here are the details of top happenings you actually need to know. Dustin Poirier has turned down an offer to be the backup fighter for the potential fight between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler in December. The former interim lightweight champion said he is not curious about being a replacement fighter and would rather fight for the title. Poirier does have a history with both McGregor and Chandler. He fought McGregor twice in 2021, winning the second fight by knockout. He also fought Chandler in 2017, losing by decision. Now, UFC typically has a backup fighter on standby for title fights in case one of the fighters is injured or unable to compete. However, Poirier said he's not interested in taking that role, even though it would likely come with a big paycheck. "I'm not a replacement fighter," Poirier tweeted. "I'm a world champion." The decision by Poirier to decline the backup fighter offer is fascinating. It implies that he is confident that he will be offered a title shot soon, either against the winner of McGregor vs. Chandler or against the current champion, Charles Oliveira. It also raises the question of who will be the backup fighter for the McGregor vs. Chandler fight. The UFC has not yet announced a backup fighter, but there are a few possibilities. One possibility is Rafael dos Anjos, who is ranked number 5 in the lightweight division. Another possibility is Islam Makhachev, who is ranked number 6. The McGregor vs. Chandler fight is still in the early stages of negotiations, so it is possible that the backup fighter will not be announced until closer to the fight date. However, Poirier's decision to decline the backup fighter offer has certainly made things interesting. We think UFC is planning to make France a regular stop for its annual calendar after a wildly successful event in Paris last weekend. The promotion has a high-ranking French star on its roster in Cyril Gane, and it capitalized on his popularity by hosting 2 events in Paris in the past year. UFC executive David Shaw said that the promotion could return to France frequently in the future as a way to invest in the sport. "The event was a great success," Shaw said. "To come here tonight and have the performances of the French athletes that all the athletes performed, and the performance of the fans as well, was validated." The fans in Paris went wild throughout the event, filling the Accor Arena with the first fight of the night. Even former UFC champion Conor McGregor was impressed by the turnout, calling the event a victory for MMA and the UFC in Europe. "He wrote a beautiful door for Europe," McGregor said. "Nice collection here. It's great to see the well-done UFC Europe team. There is money in Europe." The UFC also promised to bring the event back to Ireland in 2024. With the success of the events in Paris, it's clear that the UFC is committed to growing the sport in Europe. In other news, light heavyweight veteran Wagner da Silva scored a big submission win over Bogdan Stosic at UFC Fight Night Paris. Da Silva credited his training partner, 2-division contender Hamza Chimanga, for helping him earn his first submission victory in 11 years. "It was none other than 2-division contender Hamza Chimanga who helped me earn my first submission victory in 11 years after going through his 3rd consecutive training camp," Da Silva said. The UFC is clearly on the rise in Europe, and the events in Paris are a sign of things to come. With the promotion's commitment to the region, it's only a matter of time before MMA becomes one of the most popular sports in Europe. Wagner da Silva credits his training partner, 2-division contender Hamza Chimanga, for helping him earn his first submission victory in 11 years. Da Silva defeated Bogdan Stosic by a rear naked choke at UFC Fight Night Paris. He said that Chimanga helped him improve his grappling skills and gave him the confidence to go for the submission. "I knew that if I could withstand Chimaeva's attack, I could fight anyone," Da Silva said. "Chimanga helped me with that. He put in a lot of work for me, and the intensity he brings to training is amazing." Da Silva is now ranked 9th in the UFC light heavyweight rankings. He said he is looking to fight the top contenders in the division, and he is confident that he could beat them with Chimanga's help. Jason Miller was arrested in West Hollywood on suspicion of choking a man. Wait a minute, what? The incident happened at the Sunset Marquee nightclub. Miller allegedly got into a verbal argument with a fan, and it escalated to a point where Miller strangled the fan. But he was arrested and secured at the West Hollywood Sheriff's Station. He will be facing charges of felony battery. Also, according to rumors and news, this is not the first time that Miller has been arrested. He has a history of legal problems, including domestic violence and drug possession. It is unclear what the future holds for Dear Miller because, as of now, he is currently suspended from the UFC, and it is possible that he could be released from the promotion. Some people are saying that Miller's arrest is just the latest in a long line of problems that he has had with the law. Others are saying that he's a victim of circumstance and that he should not be judged too harshly. One person commented, "Miller has had a long history with the law in recent years, and this is just the icing on the cake." He was sentenced to 1 year in prison in 2019 for vandalism and violating a protective order, and again in 2021 he was sentenced to 1 year in prison for felony domestic violence and resisting arrest. Jones explained that he wants to maintain his legacy through smart business decisions. He believes that fighting Pavlovich, the #1 ranked heavyweight, will do more for his legacy than fighting a rising star. Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier agrees with Jones. He said that Jones could elevate fighters like Pavlovich to mainstream stars, but he has no incentive to do so. "My profile was a lot bigger after I fought Jon Jones," Cormier said, and then Stipe Miocic's profile was a lot bigger after he fought me, so it really is like that. Once you fight a guy who's established, your status goes up. However, Cormier also said that it doesn't matter who Jones fights because he's already one of the UFC greats. Jon Jones could fight a can and he would still be considered one of the best fighters in the world, Cormier said. The clash between Jones and Miocic is scheduled to take place on February 12, 2024. It'll be the first time that the two fighters have met in the octagon. Do you want to see Jon Jones fight Stipe Miocic? Give your thoughts in the comments below. Jon Jones' name alone is enough to sell a fight card. He said that Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich would be great opponents, but he's not interested in fighting them because he's weighing the business side of things against the actual competition. Honestly, the majority don't think it matters who Jones fights as the headliner. He sold over 700,000 pay-per-views against Cyril Gane, and he would probably do the same against Aspinall or Pavlovich. So what he's really saying is that he doesn't want to fight young guys who hit hard and come forward. As Jones heads into UFC 295, the big question is whether he will retire after the fight. The event is scheduled for November, so we'll have to wait and see what he decides. Justin Gaethje is also facing a big decision. After knocking out Dustin Poirier to win the BMF title at UFC 291, he's eager to keep the momentum going. However, at 35 years old, he may not want to wait around for the title shot. MMA veteran Justin Thompson believes that Gaethje should cash in on his popularity and fight Jorge Masvidal next. If I were Justin Gaethje, I would wait for Jorge Masvidal after I get my next title shot. I would probably do one last BMF fight as a money fight before I retire. This would give Masvidal time to gain more weight and get out of the sport a little more while I'm training for title shots. And do you think Masvidal will ever return to the octagon for a BMF showdown? Gilbert Burns believed that Ian Gary is destined for greatness. He said, "I think so. In a few years, yes. He's a great kid. 25 years old. This kid is a beast." Before the fight, he said he would do everything, and he practically called everything he did in the fight. Burns also mentioned Shavkat Rakhmonov and Michael Morales as two other young fighters who have a bright future in the welterweight division. Max Holloway knows that a fourth fight with Alexander Volkanovski is a long shot, but he's not giving up hope. He said, "I'm here, I'm not here. I'm not taking breaks. I'm not saying, oh, I almost had it, I'm on it. I'm fighting anyone and everyone to get back there. I'll be crawling and clawing my way back to the top." Holloway is setting his sights on returning to the octagon early next year and capturing UFC gold once again. Cyril Gane's apartment was robbed after his big win over Sergey Spivak in the main event of UFC Fight Night Paris. The police were notified of the robbery and discovered signs of forced entry. A Rolex watch valued at 150,000 euros was among the items stolen. No arrests have been made in the case. French police are investigating a robbery at the home of UFC heavyweight Cyril Gane. The robbery took place when Gane was away from his home, and a Rolex watch worth 150,000 euros was among the items stolen. An anonymous source close to the case told Le Parisien that the criminals may have had an inside source within Gane's team. The thugs may have carried out surveillance, or someone from the athlete's entourage may have informed them of his schedule. Fortunately, no one was hurt during the robbery. The investigation is ongoing, and the police are expected to release more information soon. In other news, Khabib Nurmagomedov has warned his friend and teammate Islam Makhachev that the rematch against Charles Oliveira at UFC 294 will be a tougher fight than their first meeting. Nurmagomedov believes that Oliveira will be more motivated and unpredictable this time around, as he has nothing to lose. Makhachev and Oliveira fought to a controversial draw at UFC 280. Nurmagomedov was in Makhachev's corner for that fight, but he has since retired from coaching. He will not be in Makhachev's corner for the rematch. Do you think Nurmagomedov is right? Will the rematch between Makhachev and Oliveira be a tougher fight than their first meeting? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks all for this video, folks. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of the latest MMA news and analysis. We'll see you next time. Bye.